Welcome back, everyone. This is Richard Kuhns, author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons, Chronic Lyme, and Other Skin Parasites, along with my co-host today, Mary, who's filling in for Robin, who is having company today. This segment is about managing stress. And as I mentioned in the comments a little before, having Morgellons is a lot different than having cancer. I mean, nobody really dies from Morgellons. It maims you. It really makes your life miserable. But bottom line is that it's not like cancer generally that has a terminal stage and can take one's life. But by the same token, when it comes to cancer, everybody knows about cancer and all the different kinds. There are literally hundreds of facilities, specialized hospitals in the country that specialize in different types of cancer even, and thousands of oncologists and radiologists and doctors who specialize in it. But when it comes to Morgellons, hey, the CDC says that it doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't exist. It's stress, that these fibers and filaments are probably from your clothing. And so that creates a lot of stress, having absolutely no one to talk to. Like here, I got this email from this attractive, she included a picture of herself, an attractive young lady. She says, "I'm writing to find out whether you can help me with this condition. I've been out of work for over a year because of this disease." Now, this is not uncommon. "I lost 2 great jobs because I had a constant discharge leaking through my mask from behind my ears. I'm living with my parents and my mother, who should be retired, but they're supporting me. I'm just now beginning to figure out how to kill it, but it's all over me. I had no idea how much of it there was. I've lost my kids, my fiance, and all of my friends and coworkers. I've been retired to psych and drug. I've been referred to psych and drug counseling. I'm a smart woman. I speak 5 languages. I play all the instruments in the symphony. I've dedicated my life to volunteering 60 hours a week for church and children's charities. And nobody takes me seriously enough to help me. Please." Well, we take everybody seriously here because we know how serious it's debilitating. Like I said, it doesn't usually end your life. I think there are probably more people who have committed suicide because of it than have died from it. That's how it works. It's just a disheartening disease. So this segment is about dealing with this stress. It's something that is part of the solution. Yes, we can do the diet and we can do we can do the cleaning and the environment and cleaning our skin and do the nutritional stuff. And we still got our mind to deal with. We still got the negativity, the confusion, the loss, the lack of communicating, the lack of finding support or any help. Mary, how was your life until you found us here in terms of support and stress? How did it impact you?
Oh, I was miserable. I was so miserable, and I went to the doctor. I thought I had scabies because I didn't know what I had, and I went to a dermatologist, and I saw a physician's assistant, and she told me I did absolutely, hands down, did not have scabies, but she gave me the lotion to put on my body. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Probably Quell or something like that.
Yeah, it's like an insecticide. You put it on and then you put it on again.
Permethrin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I did that, and when I put it on, it worked great. And then 3 days later, they were back. And then I did the second application, and it was great for 3 days. And then they were back. And I went back to the dermatologist, and I talked to the dermatologist himself. And he said there was nothing wrong with me except that I fit the textbook definition of delusional.
Oh, God.
And I was just floored. And I have a whole bunch of other medical problems, and I didn't get properly diagnosed until I was in my 50s. So I've had a lot of doctors tell me I'm crazy over the years. But I thought I had resolved all that. And when he said that, it just brought back just all the pain and memories of all the other doctors who told me I was crazy before I was properly diagnosed. And I was just really, really alone and desperate, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Luckily, it was only a few days after that I found your protocol, and that changed everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So it's so important to be acknowledged and to be verified that you're not crazy, you're not delusional. And I've had so many people just simply share that they're so happy to have this program to find out that there are other people in this world that have the same problems, and they're not delusional, they're not crazy. They're, we're all like, yeah. So for me, it was tremendously stressful as well. As I shared in the other segment, my son was like 3 or 4 years of age, and we went from hugging and horsing around and to arm's length because I was afraid he'd contract it. And the dynamics between his mother and me, we were, getting divorced, and the dynamics were such that if she even knew that I had something like this, she never would have let him ever see me again. So that scared the hell out of me, and to have nobody to talk to and to find the doctor after doctor, the best you can hope for when you go to the doctors is you got something, but I don't know what it is or how to help you. That, that's the best, So we're going to open up the lines and like to hear how many of you are dealing with the stress of it. So who do we have first to share, Chris?
Like everybody else, just, it's been almost a year, and I just decided I was like, you get 1 day a month to cry. That's it. All the rest of the time, buck up and do what you got to do. That's really the only way I can deal with it. Mm-hmm. I can't dwell. And even, like prayer, because then I got to think deep about it. I don't want to. I just want to, I got to do what makes my body feel better, feel better with the household, so nobody else, can contract it that I know of, and I just got to do it. That's, get up in the morning and get started. That's the only way I know how to deal with it right now.
Okay, great.
It's, my granddaughter, I don't want her to get it. The only good thing that I think I have in my favor is that I've been to tons of doctors and dermatologists and stuff and whatever. My family, my fiance, they totally believe what's going on. They believe me. They support me, always asking, because they saw the traumatic overnight weight loss and the immediate aging and the gray hair, it before their eyes, they saw it. I didn't do it to myself.
Right.
So no, that's the only thing that I feel I do have in my favor is that family. The doctors, not so much. Medical community, not so much. But my family, yes. I do feel supported. I am supported.
You're very fortunate in that regard. Many people are not supported by their family, and they believe the doctor, and they believe that they're married to a nutcase or vice versa. So
that's the only thing, though, at the very beginning, because they are supportive. the first thing is, let me take you to the doctor. Let me find a doctor. Okay, go ahead, you do that. You know, like, then they start, and I'm listening to you, or I'll, like, little quotes here and there, or stigmas, I'll have them listen really quick. And they're like, okay, yeah, I get it, you know. So, no, they're getting it how the medical community is not there yet. But as far as I go, no, they know I'm not crazy. I'm the glue that keeps this family together.
Great.
I'm not crazy.
Great. Okay, thank you for sharing. Who's next, Chris?
I'm just wondering if there's a genetic component to this as well. You know, I wanted your take on that. My late father had a lot of issues, allergies, and I with psoriasis, and there's been a lot of stress within my family system through the generations. I'm just wondering if, you know, if this is passed down epigenetically, can't be proven scientifically, but again, I've had issues my whole life, and not until, I mean, I noticed scratches on my body a few years ago, and I didn't take it seriously, and then, you know, everything else started popping up, and, you know, since I've been sheltering in place and living in this environment constantly, which is contaminated. So I wanted your, you know, feeling on the genetic issue, and how you know, if anything about that.
I know a lot, but I don't have all the answers, and that's one answer. I really don't know. I doubt that it is genetic, but that's only my personal opinion. I think it may have more to do with, and I pronounce this word, pheromones, that we admit that makes us more attractive, one person more attractive than another. I read an article a few years ago, Randy Wymore, who is a researcher at Oklahoma State University, has done some studies into this, and he's looked at all different kinds of factors, and he could not find any factor, but of course he didn't talk about pheromones, that would contribute to why one person would have it and be affected by it and other people are not. So I don't really know. I doubt it, but there's always a possibility.
Because I'm just wondering, you know, if the trauma, you know, of course you can't answer that, passed down through the generations, and makes, you know, you mentioned pheromones, but makes, you know, some, you know, maybe is it one person in a family usually that's attacked?
Well,
that's a question. You know, if you come from a large family, and how many people get this in a family?
I mean, it's obvious that the pheromones would be a genetic issue as well, you know, so that would be a connection if we go back to the basic cellular structure, that, yeah, it would be genetic in the sense that the genetics would affect the pheromones, that composition that you produce. In terms of the statistics are very scant, very, you know, the statistics are that 8 people out of 100,000 people have Lyme disease. That, and it could be higher because not everybody's reported. And that doesn't really, it doesn't mean that everybody's got Lyme disease has Morgellons, but some of the research out of the Charles Holman Association that's reported there indicates that 90% of the people who have Morgellons have one of 2 different Lyme spirochetes that they find. Now, there may be other spirochetes that they haven't identified yet that account for the other 10%, and maybe 100% of us have Lyme disease. My experience was I had Lyme disease before I had Morgellons, years, like 10 years before my first experience with Morgellons. So that it's a field that is totally unknown. If you look up statistics for delusions of parasitosis, it ranges anywhere from 2.7 out of 100,000 up to as much as 27 out of 100,000. And it's hard to get a fix on that, because if 27 out of 100,000 is a real number, is the real number, that means Morgellons, and basically everybody who goes to the medical doctors is diagnosed as delusions of parasitosis at one point or another. I mean, you might have to go to 10 doctors to get the diagnosis, but eventually you're going to be diagnosed as having delusions of parasitosis. And if 90% of those 27 out of 100,000 have Morgellons, that means Morgellons is 3 times more prevalent than Lyme disease. That it is a serious epidemic of massive proportions that is right under our nose. But we have no proof. We have no statistics really to know that, to back it up. We only have scant numbers here and there.
Yeah, thank you.
But how is the stress affecting you?
It's unbelievable because it's just another, again, it's, beyond what I can even express truly. And the other thing, I've had some very dear friends in the past who took their own life. And I'm just wondering if, these issues contributed to that because they were, given up, how it is, delusional, whatever, by the medical system. And I've been thinking as of late about them, and they were just very dear people. And so, again, this really plays with your, not only the immune system, but with your mental condition for sure, and the loneliness and isolation, and contribute. You definitely contribute. And I guess the other thing, too, is I just wish there was some political, something politically that people can do, to address this on Capitol Hill. I mean, it's just because I've gone online and there's so many people suffering with this, that aren't on the call that, don't know about
we have all these people out there, for instance, doing anti-vax things, like vaccine is going to kill you some point or other, and they're making a big deal about anti-vax, and they're totally ignorant of what Monsanto has been doing to us since the 90s. If they knew the impact of glyphosate and GMOs on our health, that we are human guinea pigs, and 5G, they'd be out there on every damn street corner.
I know. It's just horrible. I mean, there's such ignorance, and it just, I just wish there was a way, to affect our system. So people, because like I say, there's so much suffering, and it's globally. People go in these groups, and they're all over the world, and it's just horrible. What's going on. I mean, people, want to take their own life and online, and they're. It's just, I've never in my life, I mean, really, truly, it's just beyond what most people are even aware of, the suffering with this.
It's so true. So it could be, it could very well be a massive epidemic of amazing proportions that, is right under our nose and totally ignored, totally. So
Right. Yeah.
We're living with the stress of it every day, and the purpose of this segment generally is to provide stress management techniques that you can utilize throughout the day. So if anybody is on the call, it's been coming back, and I mean, we've done different things, deep breathing exercises, because to deal with the stress, smiling. Last week, I think we did a laughter exercise, all kinds of things, comedy. Robin is a tremendous musician, and music soothes the soul. So we look at all the different ways. We don't have anybody to really talk to about it that is understanding, other than people that you find in this group and other groups. So it's an isolating, terrible situation that we're in.
Right. I have a question in terms of housing. There's no real advocacy, very little advocacy for environmentally safe, affordable housing. That's the other issue. People, are moving into new homes and they're becoming ill. I mean, even the ones that can afford to have, their houses. I spoke to a woman a few years ago, in fact, before I, even was aware of this. I had symptoms, but I didn't know what it was. And she was married to a neurosurgeon and very, wealthy family, apparently. And she said they had to tear down their house, because her family became very ill. So, yeah, there's no, even the realtors here, for apartment communities, whatever. There's no information about mold and fungus and buildings, and do you know what I'm saying? It's just, again, it gets back to the ignorance within our system, and it's very, very sad.
I mean, years ago they started with radon testing and things like that, and mold toxicity has come to the forefront lately. But you're right, as far as the new housing, they're probably totally ignorant, and the standards haven't been set, the codes haven't been changed. They're 20, 30 years old. So you're right. There's a lot of things that, unfortunately, we get like Putin and his little army around Ukraine and COVID and all these things seem to take over, and we miss the real issues that are killing us every day and creeping up on us, and how we're being used as live guinea pigs in many situations. We're missing the big picture for all these little crapo stuff going on.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And again, with this vaccine issue, I know you can't address that, but it's a real, problem to decide when, for folks like myself that are so sensitive. But I want to be, able to overcome this and be in society where I can make a difference. But I don't have the strength, to do very much. I need to heal.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you very, very much for support.
Okay. Thank you for sharing, and keep coming back. We're here to support you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else, Chris?
I'll go real quick. There's so much, I could be here for 2 weeks telling you. Of course, you all know that. So the only thing that no one believed me. All my friends thought I was crazy. I went to 13 different doctors. I had doctors laugh at me. I had doctors squirm away from me so they didn't get too close to me and run out the door. I mean, and I'm talking like some very famous hospitals. So that is horrific, and that added to my mental stress. And then my brother took me to a mental hospital and didn't tell me. And then by the time, they observed me, I guess, in the room, 10 hours later, I got to talk to one of the doctors. And in talking with her, she knew I wasn't crazy. And my brother told them, what he thought my problem was. Now, at this point, I had shaved my head. And I had, almost a dozen red lumps on my scalp. It was very bad. Anyone that looks at someone in that condition and doesn't examine their scalp, I think that's malpractice. That's my opinion. So, long story short, my mother believed me. Thank God. And we pray. And I asked her, I said, Mom, would you tell me the truth if you go on my phone and these photographs that I've taken, which I had thousands of them, and videos, if these are blank, will you tell me the truth? I mean, that's to the point I got, because everyone was making me feel like I was crazy. So she said, of course. She goes, you're not crazy. I see it. So with that, and then I did talk to my psychiatrist, and I made him give me a psych eval. So I had that to bring along with me, but it didn't matter. I had to go to a naturopath, and your products are better. But I just felt like, all right, I had to do a urinalysis because my mycotoxin level was 2,700. I mean, it was through the roof. 10 is high.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So it helped a lot to have one person believe me, and then, be able to get through all the, I was thrown out of emergency rooms. I mean, it was bad. But honestly, I wish you could get there's a few doctors, and you know who they are, that say they treat Morgellons, but they need your product. I wish they would, somehow you could get together with them and they could, pass your products along. Because Dr. Savely, I'm sorry, I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but she only uses antibiotics. I mean, that's where I started, and I wouldn't do that because I know what antibiotics can do to my body in general. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's everywhere. It's in the food we eat. Yeah. It's in chemtrails. It's like you can't escape it. our bodies are rejecting it, which is a good thing, because right away when I saw what it was, I didn't know what it was. Right away I went on a cleanse. Right away I started cleansing. I'd eat non-GMO food. I eat organic foods. You know what I mean? I started with all that. I hardly put anything on my face. Actually, it's only your product. I just went with all pure stuff because I knew whatever it was would have to get out of my body, and it did work. But unfortunately, I'm not in my own home, and I can't control the environment. So.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's stressful itself. Dr. Saverly in her book does note that nature's gift has been used effectively, but they don't actually use our products with their patients. I wish they did. It's like we are on two different planets. I mean, they're in the ivory tower, and we're down in the lowly mud here. And I think we get better results, but anyway, thank you, and keep coming back.
Thank you.
I know myself, like I'm losing my hair, and there's no known cure. And my daughter just got infected by me, and she's really young, and she's losing her hair. And they just say it's nothing, it's normal. For my age, it's normal, but not for her age. She's young. And so we've been struggling with that. And our families don't believe it exists. So we have no family support.
Yeah.
And
tough.
So it is very stressful. And this time, I wish I could be off the planet. Except that I know that my daughter's in danger now. And her children, I worry about her children and her husband. And like I said, I'm the only one that believes it's real. Everybody else is just making excuses for it. And it's hard.
It is hard. The good news is with the hair, if you follow the protocols, your hair will grow back. So I had huge problems with my hair, and I had to look at it as it's a temporary situation until I could get the products I needed to solve the problem.
I have no bites or anything in my head, no scratching, no itching, nothing.
But I
you have that problem?
The hair thing. I'm sorry to interrupt. If I don't, I'll forget. As far as the hair thing, I'm telling you, my hair was pretty long. I cut it short, and then I cut it off. And then my brother came and put the razor. I had, no hair. And when you have this issue, and I had it for, a year, and then I was, cut my hair off because I knew something was going on with my hair and my scalp. And then I could start to heal because the medicine is easier to apply, or, not the medicine, the product. And I didn't care.
Right.
And you know what? Actually, when you talk about cancer, God forbid, no one wants cancer. But people treated me with more respect and caring because they thought I was a cancer patient.
Yeah.
Because I had no hair.
Okay. And did you have marks on your scalp or anything? Or there's
for the longest time there was nothing. I was that's why I was going crazy. I couldn't see anything, but I felt it all over my body, from my head to my feet. It was all over my whole body. And I would take a piece of tape, slap the tape on my skin, rip the tape off, and I could see the outline of whatever this stuff is inside my skin. So, I mean, unfortunately, you're dealing with a younger person. They're not going to want to shave their hair. But if I were you, I'm just telling you, I knew right away that there was a big component because a lot of people have it on their neck and their back, and they get these horrific sores. So when I wash my hair, I always wash it separate in the sink. I washed my arms separate. I did every body part separate in the sink, basically, and then I took a shower. I'm not saying you have to go to that extent, but I knew whatever was coming out of my scalp was affecting the rest of my skin and making it worse. And I didn't care. I just put a pretty scarf on my head.
Do you
And what did you put in on your scalp for your hair? Anything?
I used all Richard's products. That and Dr. Bronner's soap. Yeah.
The best person to talk to about that is Robin, and she's not on the call today, but they're going to give her phone number at the end. But she has successfully dealt with it, and she had really, really thick really thick curly hair. And when she was done, I think she did not lose any of her hair through once she got them out of her hair. The hair grows back. It's a temporary situation. Do you feel them in your hair? Do you feel anything?
Not at all.
Okay.
Except my hair falls out.
Yeah. One of the things Robin also used was red light therapy for her hair to help regenerate it. So great. Okay. Anyone else, Chris? Thank you, Mary. Hi.
I agree with that. I try to have a good attitude every day, and I believe that supports my immune system, which is the only reason I'm still alive, I believe. I believe I contracted this it got severe over a year ago, and my family put me in a mental institution for a couple of weeks where I almost died because I was allergic to the medication.
Wow.
And it was quite a traumatic experience. The police treated me horribly. The ERs treated me horribly. I went to 3 dermatologists who told me I had neurodermatitis, and I knew better. It was systemic because it had, at the worst point, been coming out my ears, my eyes, my nose, my scalp, my arms, everywhere. So yeah, it's been a nightmare, and I'm so glad I'm not glad there are other people who can relate to it, but I'm glad there's a support system out there, and I just wanted to express my appreciation. I'm looking forward to starting the King's Diet and getting the book.
You haven't gotten the book yet?
No, I'm getting it as soon as I get my next paycheck.
Oh, you don't have, it's free, the ebook. You haven't gotten the ebook?
Oh, yes, but I need a physical book. I'm sorry. I'm an avid reader, and I need to write in it. I need to have the diet there and everything in one place.
I got you. Yep. All right. I understand. Yeah, it's great to have the physical book to go through. Robin has it, post-its all over the book and notes throughout the book that she's constantly referring to. And we've had a couple of people in the last segment share that, they were in such a situation when they first found the book that it didn't make much sense or they didn't grasp it, and you just have to keep reading it because as you get better, your ability to comprehend gets better and understand, and it all it's overwhelming. What can I say? It's overwhelming. Was it overwhelming for you, Mary?
Oh, absolutely. It was overwhelming, and I was dealing with brain fog before this happened from some other medical problems, and after this occurred, I couldn't think, I couldn't read, I couldn't do anything. And slowly over time, as I got better, like you say, and I was able to comprehend things, I could absorb more of the information.
It all makes sense. Yeah, wonderful.
It's truly a journey and not an event.
No.
It's an event to get them, but it's a journey to get rid of them.
Yet when you go on Facebook and you see the post, you think it should be an event, right? Everybody posts advice, do this, do that, this cured me, that cured me, or whatever. But it's not that way. It's like you shared. You went to you got this medication, the Elamite or whatever it was, and it worked for 3 days. You know, that was my experience. And then it didn't work. And then they give you another medication, and it worked for 3 days, and then it didn't work. You know, it's like I was beginning to think that these things are intelligently adapting to whatever it was that I was assaulting them with, and until I discovered the diet. And you talked about brain fog. Yep, absolutely, brain fog. I absolutely didn't have it that much, but I'd say that probably 80% of the people who complete the questionnaire are dealing with brain fog. The little device over my shoulder here is the mister, putting out the clary sage essential oil, which is like a brain fog eraser. So that's I like to use it as a good smell to it as well. So, okay, anyone, Chris? Anyone else, Chris?
Give me 1 second. 3808.
380.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi. In your book, you said that you had flies that came out of you.
Yes, organisms.
What?
Your first name,
Yeah,
please?
it's Heather, sorry.
And where are you from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay, well, yeah, I mean,
I
organisms.
contracted them in Vegas at an Airbnb.
Don't tell Robin that. she has an Airbnb, and that's how her Airbnb got infected. Her guests brought them to her bed bugs and everything under the skin. I mean, under the sky. It's all under the skin. Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. Can you tell me what these flies look like? Were they like little gnat flies, or is that something else that I have?
It's invariable. Somebody mentioned earlier that they have tons and tons of photographs and things that they've been taking, and move away from that. That's a lot of stress. Taking those pictures and trying to figure out what the hell it is. Get away from that. I mean, there's an infinite number of organisms apparently, and no two people, I've said this many times, have exactly the same symptoms when it comes to Morgellons. The only thing that's characteristic of Morgellons is filaments and fibers. Everything else has nothing to do with Morgellons, but is an offshoot of having Morgellons, okay? So filaments and fibers can vary. They can be different sizes. They can be 60 power before you see them. They can be big and move. Some people report them being moving, and actually the people in we had a guest on some time ago, and he said that that's not true, that these filaments and fibers don't move. Well, tell that to some of the people who have them, who move. And you can't be reinfected by the fibers. Well, tell that to the people who have been reinfected or infected other people from the filaments and fibers. Well, so you have different colors, red, blue, green, white, black filaments, and different sizes and different thicknesses. So, and then when it comes to the organisms, God, all kinds, flea-like things, mite-like things. There are many different kinds of mites. Some people have plastic things coming out of their body, like barbs that might be 3/4 of an inch in length, or up to 3 inches in length, coming out of their skin. Can you imagine getting something out of your skin that's 3 inches long? God, what a process. People have goo, white goo, black goo. Where do they get it? Many people report being exposed to moldy conditions, fly mold, that kind of thing. Others simply sitting on an airplane seat or an Airbnb, So it's infinite. No two people have the same exact symptoms or experiences.
So I've gone to dermatologists and doctors, and one of them said I must be on drugs. Another one said I have dry skin. Another one said I'm delusional. So I've stopped going to doctors now because there's just no help at all.
Right.
But I've been using your products, and I've started the diet, which is helping. I've gotten your debraining soap, which is helping. I also put borax in my bathtub, which helps a lot. But I have them on my face. And I've had them for about, it'll be almost a year now.
The lesions on your face?
Yeah, they're the lesions. And it got really bad when I had to wear a mask. I had to wear a mask for a job, so I have them really bad on my chin. I got them on my lips, a little bit on my cheeks.
Okay, so were you here for the first part of this program, for the very first at 4 o'clock?
No.
Okay,
no,
so that was the subject, dealing with lesions, and we covered it pretty well. There are about a half a dozen different things that you can do, and went through all of them. So you'll want to look at the YouTube video. It'll be published probably by Friday, and I'll give you the link, and you can go there. And it's also in the book. And if you go on the blog post, I basically took it from a blog post that we have that goes back to, I think, January 19, no, what was it? I forget the date. 2019, but I forget exactly what date that was. So it's all there. And once that diet kicks in and you use any of these procedures, that skin's going to clear up quickly.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a picker, so I get tweezers and try and pick them out, which will probably make them worse. But
yes, it does, because anything you use to pick them, unless it's sterilized, is going to introduce bacteria and a problem. Plus, if you go through the blog, you'll find that even scratching is actually a way of feeding these organisms. It produces chemical changes within your body that they enjoy, and makes them stronger. So as much as you can, avoid scratching or picking at these things. Simply apply some cream or lotion. Ours are the best. There are other things. Amylactin is something you can buy in any pharmacy. Neosporin is something you can also buy. So apply those kind of things, or even Caladryl lotion, rather than scratching.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else, Chris?
That's it. Everybody's done.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming on today. Let's do a couple of deep breaths to close out the segment. So when we breathe in through our chest and down into our abdomen. So as you inhale, you don't raise your shoulders up. You let your shoulders down, and you inhale and expand your abdomen. And when you exhale, you pull in the stomach and push the air out. So breathe in slowly. Exhale. Pull the stomach in, push the air out. Breathe in again. Fill up the abdomen. And exhale. And smile. Okay, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Mary for contributing as my co-host today. It was wonderful having you, Mary. Everyone for coming on. Thank you. Love you all. Keep coming back. We're here to support you in getting your lives back.